This review is on Red Dragon Inn. This review is actually on Red Dragon Inn 2. The difference is just the characters, and it can be combined with the original to have up to 8 players, but it is very much still a standalone game. The theme, you're in a tavern after a long adventure with your crew, basically knocking back a few before your next voyage. These are tough times though, so don't pass out or your friends will just leave you in the stables. But first take your money. The goal, keep all your gold and stay conscious. Sounds reasonable, doesn't it? Try and do that every Friday night. Some Saturdays. Cost and value, for me it was $70 Australian. I maybe just paid a tad much for this. I did purchase it a while ago though, and if you're picking it up for around 60, you'd be more on the mark and getting, a good game for your dollar. Players 2 to 4 on the box. I'm going to say for me it's a 3 minimum. I wouldn't play it with 2 players. It loses its capability to make use of the surprise elements, the paranoia, the revenge and overall Scrooge factor that plays so well in this game with more players. In saying that, how is it played? Each player takes from his character deck a hand of 7 cards. Cards have certain actions on them and specify when and how that action can affect the game. Some cards can be played out of the player's turn, etc. Okay, what are we looking at? The drink deck in the centre of the table, the player's gold. On the player's mat we have the fortitude and alcohol counters. When these 2 counters meet, that player will be eliminated by passing out. The character deck, a place to put your discards, the player's drinks that are in front of them, each player starts with 1. On the player's mat they have printed the turn order. A player in his turn will discard and draw back to 7, play an action card, buy a drink for an opponent, and drink a drink. Dimly on the left will start by discarding 2 cards and redrawing. He then plays an action card. Stop using my head as a table. Another player loses 1 fortitude. So Eve will reduce her red token from 20 to 19. Dimly then buys a drink. He picks up a card from the drink deck and places it on his opponent's mat. It's important to note that when a player buys a drink in this way, the bar keeps a tab and it does not cost the player any gold from his stash. Dimly then takes a drink, elven wine. Gain 3 alcohol, and he adjusts his alcohol token accordingly. Eve's turn. She discards 3 and redraws. Now the action card phase. She starts a round of gambling. Using Gambling I'm In. This suspends current play and begins a round of gambling in which the player who started, in this case Eve, is currently winning the round. Each player then puts in 1 gold. But Dimly will play a card. Dwarves always have money. He gets to use the inn's money instead of his own. He then plays a gambling card from his hand to take control of the round. Eve retaliates with a raise card, taking back control of the round from Dimly, and everyone must up the ante 1 gold. Play continues like this until all players pass or a card, winning hand, has been played. Dimly has no more gambling cards in his current hand and passes. Eve gets the cash. Eve then continues her turn and buys a drink for Dimly, and drinks 1 herself. A dark ale with a chaser. With the chaser, she will add the effects of the card beneath it as well. So, she gains 1 alcohol for the dark ale, and loses 2 fortitude for the orcish drink. Dimly's turn. He redraws to 7 and then plays Are You Saying I'm Grumpy? Another player loses 2 fortitude. Eve then updates her gaming mat. He buys Eve a drink and drinks 1 himself. He too reveals a dark ale with a chaser, but has a card to assist him. He plays You have this, I'm waiting for the good stuff, giving the drink to another player, and they take the effects instead of him. So Eve takes a dark ale and gets a chaser from her deck, Dwarven Firewater, and she adds a total of 5 alcohol. At this point, Eve starts to slur her speech and starts hitting on Dimly. The average game is going to be somewhere between 30 and 60 minutes, depending largely on the amount of players involved. My thoughts, the components are decent. You've got great artwork, good tokens, the alcohol and fortitude tokens are great. The fact that each player has a player's mat is a nice addition. Plastic coated cards would have been welcomed though. I always find in card games where you're using the cards a bit, it just helps expand the life. I really like the way the game works. The turn phase seemed odd at the start to me. Buying a drink for your opponent, not yourself, and the way you discard and draw seemed a bit strange, but it works quite well. And when you've got a mate with 5 drink cards in front of him to get through, and he has a chaser and another chaser, and it starts to build, it gets quite interesting. The drink events that will come up are also fun to participate in. Gambling can be fun but dangerous. Remember that when you're out of gold, the wench will throw you out and you'll be out of the game. Replay wise, I enjoy it. I haven't found the right group for this yet though. At the club I go to, it's generally overlooked and we'll pick up another game. I will mention that at the gaming club we go to, there are a lot of good games there as well. Still, this frustrates me because, as I said, I love it. This is just one of the reasons I did the review, because I think it's a game that's overlooked as just a good theme, but it's also a good game and plays very well. The rules are written very clear and quite easy to learn. The cards have their meaning printed on them, which helps a lot. Is it okay for kids? Well, the box says ages 13 and up. I'd probably say that's about right. Given the theme is the abuse of alcohol, any younger and it would certainly, it just wouldn't be suitable. And the theme wouldn't make a great deal of sense to them anyway. This game fills a gap in my collection, I feel, which is Beer and Pretzels card game for me, and it's, well, given the theme is the ultimate. I don't think I'd part with this game from my collection. It has a welcome spot on my shelf. I think the theme is excellent. It wouldn't be hard to introduce new players, but I wouldn't quite call it a gateway game. For me, Red Dragon Inn 2 is a 7.5 out of 10.